Hey everybody, this is Coach Crawford here, and I want to say first, thank you so much for tuning in to our Survivor Series. Look, this month has been a great month, and I've had an awesome opportunity to connect with some powerful women who have shared their story on how they survived cancer, how they have survived domestic violence. And the stories, of course, I know has touched those who have tuned in, who have listened, who actually know them personally. Now, I dedicated, of course, our last survivor story in reference to cancer to people who I loved. And I want to take this opportunity to dedicate this one to women who have died as a result from domestic violence. I have personally worked with a woman who died from domestic violence, and you may know someone who did not make it out, who did not leave in time. But the women who are survivors, who are standing, who have came out, who are looked at as phoenixes, just rising up out of the ashes. I want to congratulate you. I want to honor you for the fight. And as you continue to push, I'm just loving the fact that your story didn't end there, that you're changing the lives. So I want you to stay connected, sit back and relax, and listen to the story of this young woman as she shares her journey of domestic violence.
The She's Hungry podcast.
You know you're not defined by what somebody says.
With Coach Crawford.
She is awesome.
Providing you with the right content for the right appetite.
Let's get it.
Stay focused.
Spend your energies creating what you want.
Stay fearless.
It's just believing in yourself.
Stay hungry.
You've got to be hungry.
And now, Coach Crawford.
What's up, everybody? This is Coach Crawford. I'm here with the She's Hungry podcast with another episode with another awesome person, a woman here with me today in the She Cave. Now, before I introduce her, first, let me say thank you to all of those who have been following us, who have been liking our page, loving our posts, watching our podcast air. Look, I want to say thank you so much for just tuning in. We could not do what we do without you, of course. And everything that we show, everything that we air is created to give you what you need to fuel that fire. So thank you, all of my she-wolves out there, all of the people that are watching and tuning in. And I am super pumped today. I'm super pumped today because I have an awesome woman, someone here with me in the She Cave. I've known her for years. But I do have to say this, I've never truly heard the story. So as we are talking about this in depth, about her being a survivor and being here for our Survivor Series, as you're listening in, I'm listening in. And so excuse everything that may take place, but we're about to get raw for real. Ain't that right?
Raw and real. Yes, ma'am.
So look, put hands together where you are. If you're sitting at home, you're looking on your phone, I want you to clap where you are and just welcome Donalja James to the She Cave. What's up, girl?
Girl, listen, I like being fearless and focused. Thank you for having me, though.
Thank you so much. And again, when I put the post out there and I was looking for people, I'm so glad that you said, hey, look, I'm a survivor, and said yes to come out here and just take the time and share your story. You know, I said it before. I know sometimes this is a sensitive subject for women who have went through this. And so everybody ain't ready to share.
Right.
But I really think it's important that women such as yourself and our previous guest, Kezra, share their story so that people can say, hey, you know what? I have a voice. Because we don't know what woman or teenage girl is going through something like this.
And small girls, because it's impacting our youth at a much younger age.
Yeah.
And now it's not just exclusive to women. It's like, you know, we talk about the women's stories all the time, and they're there.
Yeah.
But there are so many men and little boys, and there are so many women who didn't heal when they were younger, so they're abusive to their children.
Wow.
So it's like, yeah, let's talk.
Yeah,
let's
get
talk.
it. I like how you said it. Let's talk.
Let's get it.
So, you know, as we know that this is a series, we're celebrating purple.
Yes.
October Purple Domestic Violence. We had a guest surviving cancer and everything else. But we want to hear your story. So before we get into the details, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, I tell people I'm Donalja. I'm Donalja James. The best way to describe me is I am a survivor. I survived incest, domestic violence, as well as childhood abuse. So there's quite a bit that's wrapped into my story. And then I was also sexually assaulted when I was in the service.
Wow.
So it's a couple of things that kind of encompass me. But the beautiful thing that I love now is that I can look at it. I still see some of the things that happen, but they are no longer, I no longer identify myself as that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So,
now, you stated that it started a long time ago.
a very long time ago.
Now, look, this first, of course, you are a mother of
4.
4.
I'm a mother of 4 and a grandmother of 4.
She lying, y'all. She ain't got no grandkids.
Yes, I do. I got them. And look, I had 2, and then in August, the month of August was double portions.
Oh, wow.
I had one born on the 4th and one born on the 5th. So
Really?
yeah.
Oh, one of them born on my husband's birthday. So
Really?
you know what? Hey. But I'm telling you, you look great.
Thank you.
And knowing that you're here about to tell your story, a survivor, mommy of 4, grandmother of 4, you do not look like what you've encountered. You know, we hear that so many times, but I'm standing here really, or sitting here, and I'm really saying it out of sincerity. You do not look like what you've been through.
And I'm glad. you know, that one day, at one point, I felt like I did.
Tell them when they don't see, when the
Yeah,
makeup's off.
No, not even just the makeup.
Yeah.
Girl, at one point, I was so stressed out behind everything.
Yeah.
You know, that it was like, I couldn't see my way. But I'm thankful. I'm thankful for this moment.
Yeah.
Because I've been in the fight. I've been in the fight for knowing me for a long time.
Yeah.
And I finally am walking in these shoes where I understand exactly who I am and my feet are planted. So it's like, yeah, she good.
Yep, she good.
She good. Look, she hungry.
Yes, you are. And we're going to talk about how hungry you are. We're going to definitely talk about that. And I want us, though, because go back when you stated that you went through incest and some things that's happened to you as a young child. I really feel like that's important. Reason being, for us to talk about, there are a lot of reasons why people are find themselves in domestic relationships. When I say that, you don't know that he's a hitter.
Right.
You don't know he's an abuser. But what is it, that thing that's in you that causes you to stay? And so I want to build up to your story so that people can understand, what did it take, or how long did it take for you to walk away from the abusive relationship? They have to realize it's just not only a physical walk away. There's a mental tie, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, physical. It could be dangerous to walk away. And so you had to find that right timing. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's go back to when you were younger, when the first sign of abuse happened to you.
Well, my first signs of abuse happened as a very small child. I started being molested. I was approximately 2 years old.
Wow.
And I had been molested from 2 to 4. It just so happened that I was with my mom one weekend, and I kind of let my mom know, but I didn't know I was letting my mom know, because the things that were happening to me, they just seemed normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I remember one incident. My mom went to change my clothes or something, and I seductively asked my mom, "So what you want?" And that was the moment that my mother realized, okay, something is happening to my child, and I need to do something about it. But I didn't know. I mean,
you were 2, 3, 4 years old.
Yeah, I didn't know that, this was wrong. You know what I'm saying? So it was some things. My body had been violated for a very long time.
Yeah.
So, and I honestly, I say this, and I'm going to say this because I feel led to say it. One of the things that really bothered me when I first stepped into church was everybody talked about a virginity.
Yeah.
You got to be a virgin. You got to present yourself to your husband. I didn't know how.
Yeah.
Because my body had been taken for so long. So I automatically felt like I was less than, dirty, not good enough. So what am I open to?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
What am I offering?
What am I offering? Like what do I have to give? Because
Yeah.
if from the pulpit all you're preaching is that's the only acceptable woman, automatically
Guess what? I'm out. Quite a few of us would have been out.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, tag, not you.
Yeah.
You know, so it was. I honestly feel as though that was what opened me up to domestic violence in the very beginning. And then I watched my mom go through abusive relationships. One of my mom was married, and I watched her fight for her life.
Yeah.
You know, and so for me, violence equated love.
You didn't know any other way.
You know, it was like, okay, well, y'all love each other. I mean, y'all going at it, so this must be what it is. So as I began to develop as a young woman, I got one thing against me. My self-esteem is low because I don't have a virginity.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing. My body's been taken. I had been sexually stimulated from a young age.
Yeah.
So I don't have that to give. And then on top of that, violence makes sense. So, okay, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I went through a cycle of abuse. It wasn't one abuser. It was several. It seemed like for a while, every relationship that I was in was physically, verbally, and mentally abusive.
Yeah.
You know, and for the longest time, that was just where I was stuck at. And you know, you getting your body thrown into walls and being choked out, waking up, choking, you know, somebody choking you, or you got guns pointed to your head, all of these types of things, being kidnapped and taken out of town away from your kids. It's been, my story has so much that's wrapped into it, but I'm thankful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it sounds crazy, but I'm thankful because I don't think I would appreciate life as much had it not happened.
If you haven't went through so much violence and you know what, it's amazing. I'm so glad that you said that, because on a person who have only experienced, I think the most I've ever been is a guy pushed me. Mm-hmm. And I remember mentally saying, "Ooh, he better be lucky I ain't near my brothers or my dad."
So you had that.
You know, and it never happened again. But, you know, on the outside, I would know certain women who were in abusive relationships, and they would leave that relationship and end up in another one, and then that person's abusive.
And then another one.
You would ask yourself eternally, you wouldn't say it out loud, but it's an eternal question, says, how are you attracting the same kind of man? But you were saying how you didn't know any other
I didn't have, first of all, you know, my dad, while he is a great individual, he has never been a foundational person for my life. Mm-hmm. You know, my dad can't tell you how old I am right now.
Wow.
Like,
Whoa.
you know,
don't
sweat off your back, but hey, bro, you don't know. You know what I mean? You don't know. My dad can't tell you the names of my children. Wow. He doesn't know very much about me. I saw my dad in passing as a little girl. You know, my grandfather, while, you know, my mom, I tell this portion of my story because it shows the generational things that happened. But my mother did not allow me to be around my grandfather because my grandfather would have molested me.
Wow.
My mother's first child was my grandfather's.
Wow.
You know, before I was born, you know, so that was the kind of thing that was in my family. So when you're sitting back and you're talking about how does a person end up in this, when you have a family that is riddled with generational curses, and I'm just gonna call it, like, a lot of people don't want to call it that, but I'm gonna call it. When a family is riddled with generational curses, you begin to accept things because it's all that you know.
Yeah.
You know,
You don't know no other way of life.
no, you don't. And I'm not saying that my life was
way.
bad. It wasn't horrible, but there are some foundational principles that I didn't get. Like my daughter has her dad. She's a daddy's girl. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I can't identify with that. Yeah. So when she makes decisions about being involved with a man, you know, she's going by, do you act like my daddy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Her experience with her father. Me, it was kind of like, you might be like my daddy, but I don't really know because he ain't been around. So, and then you want, for me, I realized young that I wanted that attention.
Yeah.
I did not receive the male attention. I didn't have those male mentors that protected me. I didn't have those brothers.
Yeah.
There was me saying, "Let me bring somebody home to meet my dad." Where you gonna meet him at?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there was nobody that protected me except for my
That
mom.
male presence where it will evoke a sense of
Fear.
not fear, but
Yeah, no,
reverence, respect.
Reverence, respect,
You know,
and fear.
and fear, yeah.
Because when I look at my daughters now, we joke, but trial.
Yeah.
The brothers will get you. The two
Exactly.
brothers will get you. Their stepdad will get you.
Yeah.
Their dad may even get you. But
Yeah.
it's like, I didn't have that.
Yeah.
So I went through a whole battle of I wanted to be accepted and I wanted that kind of love because
Yeah.
I didn't get it. It doesn't justify why you allow it. But like I tell people, before a man ever physically breaks you, he mentally and emotionally breaks you.
Yeah.
When a man can take your mind, when he has your mind, I won't say a man because women are abusive too. When a person can break your mind and get in your mind and they snatch your brain into where you're all about them, then they've got you.
Yeah.
And they may not hit you anymore because they've already done the physical damage, but you ain't going nowhere because you too scared to go.
They didn't train you.
trained.
And I want to put it in this comparison, but it's no difference of breaking an animal.
Yes.
It's
the same.
It's the same system. You're breaking them to the point where they know to obey the master and not to turn on their master.
Because my ex, one of my relationships, I will never forget that he cheated a lot. Like, cheating was his thing. But you dare not ask me what I'm doing.
No.
And I had to accept when women called my phone. I had not a cell phone, but my house phone. I need him to come and do this to me. And I'm like, that it's wrong. Internally, this is not how it should happen. This is not how it should be.
It seem like a relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
This is not what I signed up for. But you don't want to go anywhere because, number one, your kids are tied into it. You're afraid of being by yourself. You're afraid of financially having to carry the load, whether they contributed or not. A lot of times they weren't even really contributing.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, but my mind was so wrapped up in what happened.
Yeah.
You get beat up because him and his other woman had some issues, and now you about to catch it.
Now you's catching.
Yeah, I got a whole body print through a wall because you and her got into it, and now you taking it out on me.
Because you can't take it out on her.
Right. So it's like it was a lot of breaking. But I say this much: I have been, addicts say that they have been free from addiction for how many years? I have been domestic violence free now for 8 years.
Wow.
I'm sorry. How long ago did I do stilettos? I'm sorry. It's been 10 years.
10 years.
10 years I've
Wow.
been domestic violence free.
Wow. 10 years you took your life back.
I took my life back.
Tell me because I love what you're saying. I love the information that you're sharing about the mental whole. I think that's part of the domestic violence that we're not really listening to. I always say where, I'm an advocate for child abuse awareness because of suffering from losing a child due to the issue. And so, I always used to tell my husband that it's not loud enough because it doesn't affect people. It doesn't become an issue until it knocks on your door.
Right.
And so when you see stuff on the news or you see stuff on social media, you go, oh man. But then what happens? Life goes on. Because why? It's not knocking on your door. And so, what was it like that first time, that I know you said you went through the violence, you went through so many different things and in the mental, but what happened that very, very, very first time that you was in a relationship and he went beyond the mental, he went beyond the emotional abuse, and he says, this is the physical. What was it like that first time?
Embarrassing, demeaning, and crushing. It crushed my spirit but here's the piece that is probably not going to make sense to some people. Comfortable.
Yeah.
It was comfortable because I understood violence. It's like I understood I'm being chastised. I didn't do what I was supposed to do.
So you felt guilty?
I felt guilty.
Wow.
I didn't do what I was supposed to do. He requires me to do this, and I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and if I'm not mistaken, going back to the very first time that I got my tail kicked, I remember what it was. It was because I didn't know how to drive the car. He had purchased a stick shift on purpose in my name. He had purchased a stick shift that I couldn't drive. And then proceeded to tell me he was going to teach me how to drive it. Wow. And I was learning how to drive it, I thought. But you know how you stripping the gears a little bit. And he cussed me out, first of all, about the fact that I was stripping the gears. Oh, are you too stupid to know how to drive the car? And da-da-da-da. And I'll never forget, I almost burnt out the clutch. I got beat that night. And
wow.
It was because I was too stupid. And that was the thing that he kept saying, that I was too stupid. And I'll never forget, my mother had come down. And my mother had said, she said, so what do you think of my daughter? I said, oh, she'll never leave. She's too dumb to leave. She said, oh, okay.
Wow.
And my mother looked at me. She said, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you'll leave.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I left. But I had to do things to get my mind back.
How long did it take for you to say, you know what, I'm...
It was a while. I endured a couple of years there because the abuse started right after I said I do.
Wow.
I stayed in it for a while. But I was kind of, I'm going to tell you, I was a little bit off. I was a little bit off. I'm the person that was, I'm going to get you before you get me. Yeah. You hurt me in this area, so I'm going to figure out a way to hurt you another way.
Yeah.
And that wasn't right, but
I jumped tit for tat.
I jumped from that relationship into another relationship and didn't take the time to heal, but I needed to get away from him.
Yeah.
So for me, you get away by running to somebody else.
Yeah.
And that was the mistake that I made because that eventually turned into something violent.
Yeah.
And it that was the cycle. And like I said, I've been 10 years free of domestic violence after going through for about 20 years.
Mm-hmm. If you don't mind, because I think when we were talking before the cameras went on and before we started recording, that young girls they're being abused, or whether or not it's just a physical abuse. I think that there's early stages of the control, and they probably even feel that I'll never let it get to this, or this will never happen to me. What was one of the worst experiences, if you don't mind sharing, one of the worst experience in domestic violence that you'll never forget? Give me that one, and then I want to know what was that, why all of a sudden now you said, you know what, Donalja is taking her life back.
One of the worst experiences, I was kidnapped.
Wow.
I was kidnapped. My children, they're older now. I was kidnapped when my baby boy was about 8, 9 months old. He's 22 now.
Wow.
I was kidnapped. I was taken from High Point to Philadelphia. I had gotten involved with this young man. Like I told y'all, I was the one that was, when I'm trying to get away from one, I ran to another one.
Yeah.
But the one that I ran to was a fool.
Yeah.
Like straight up, like convicted criminal, had been convicted of murder. I didn't know these things about him. But he was safe. He was going to protect me. He had a gun and he was good.
You felt security.
I felt safe. Yeah, he was crazy. He kidnapped me from, well, let me explain how the kidnapping took place. He asked me to take him to Wilmington, to drive him to Wilmington. What I didn't know was that he was going to put something into my drink. I drove him to Wilmington. I didn't make it back for almost 2 months. I was away from my children for a little bit over 2 months. I lost my daughter during that time. Her dad came down to visit and he took her to Indiana. And I lost my daughter during that time. And My kids ended up with their father during that time. So I lost everything. I lost my house. I lost my job. I lost everything. But I was taken away at gunpoint. And the only way that I made it back was his grandmother, the gentleman's grandmother. She asked me, she said, "Baby, what you doing with him?" Because she knew who he was, She knew. And she told me, she said, "Ain't nothing good about him." She said, "He is the devil's son."
Wow, Grandma
Called him the devil's son. And he had literally held me at gunpoint. He had my keys to my car. He had everything that belonged to me and stuffed it away, and I couldn't get away from him. And I tell people to this day, I was not saved at the time, but I know that God was with me, because in the middle of the night, my body got shook. He was laying beside me in the deepest sleep, and he always slept really, really lightly. My body shook, and something said, "Get up now." Mm-hmm. And I remember, how you kind of like, what? Yeah. I got up, and I heard, "Go downstairs." I went downstairs, and the grandmother, she said, "Are you ready to go?"
Wow.
And I said, "Yes, ma'am." She made a phone call. I didn't know at the time she was running a card house. I ain't know nothing. I'm in Philadelphia. Grandma was a hustler.
She street.
She was hungry.
She hungry.
But she gave me $80, and she said, "We're gonna put you on the highway." And they put me on the highway. And the craziest thing is, I made it back from Philadelphia to High Point in 3.5 hours, which is supposedly impossible. 3.5 hours. That should tell you I was rolling. I was gone. Past the highway trooper, he did not bother me. So I know that it was nothing but God. But that was one of the scariest experiences that I ever had in my life. But that still didn't teach me all the way. I still was attracting abusers. Yeah. My last relationship that I was in that was physically abusive, I woke up with a gun cocked in my mouth. He had PTSD, so he would blame it on having PTSD. But I got tired of the blows.
You know what? We're going to take a moment real quick, and we're going to show some information real quick on how you can contact somebody about domestic violence. Hey, look, I just want to take a moment and pause really quick and say, I hope that you're listening to the words of what she is sharing and how important it is for you to get help. I want you to connect with someone, a local number, there's a toll-free number. Find someone that you can reach out to, that you can get help from, because there are so many resources out there where you can find someone to help you get out of an abusive relationship. Abuse is not only physical, but it's also mental, emotional, verbal. If someone is making you feel unsafe, if someone is making you feel less than a woman, if someone is causing you not to view yourself as a powerful, independent, strong-minded woman, then you have to ask yourself, am I in a healthy relationship? So I want you to reach out to the information that we're providing for you and make that call, make that change. Thanks so much for staying connected. And you know what? We're about to go right back into the story. I'm really amazed about all the information you have shared, especially some of the experiences that you've had. And I did say it before, I want to know, what was that, because you're celebrating 10 years. What was that one moment that you said, okay, you know what? You woke up and you said to yourself, I can't live like this anymore. I'm tired. I'm fed up. Was it an experience that happened, or?
It was definitely, as I was stating before, in regards to the last relationship, the last domestic violence relationship that I was in. With him having PTSD, it was random. Like, his anger would just come in spurts. It was like being on a battle zone constantly. You never know. But the thing that got me is I lost my identity. Yeah. Like, I had been losing pieces of myself for years, but I truly lost my identity. Wow. And I'll never forget, I had started going to church, and I had, while I was in church, I remember that I was getting ready to go to the school of discipleship and all of this. And I had a full out cuss out, blowout, and got beat for wanting to make that step.
Wow.
And it was like, the thing that really got me, and I'll never say what church it was, is when I went to the elders of the church and said, hey, this is what I'm going through. Their response to me was, well, you should pray, because that's God's way of having you to duck while he hits your husband. That was, for me, the moment of, I have no safety.
Nowhere.
So I have to figure out how to get me back. And I left. I did. I left. But before I left, I went back to, when I was in high school, I was gang raped. Mm-hmm. I was gang raped by 10 guys on the football team. Wow. And I left. I graduated high school, literally got into my recruiter's car and was like, peace. Well, that relationship that I was dealing with the gentleman with the PTSD, I remember the closer I kept getting to God, the more he kept saying to me, there are things that you need to face. So I went back to Mississippi.
Wow.
And I went back to the school and sat on the grounds where that situation took place for me. And it was in that moment, I would love to explain it, but I don't think everybody will understand. It was in that moment that in prayer and all of the elements moving, because literally when I say the elements moved, that a part of me came back.
Yeah.
And that was when I decided, because the last beating that I took broke me. And I was like, I'm not going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And I haven't been in a relationship like that since. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say everything was perfect.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean,
she had to go get some help. Because she that is me, was going through some stuff. Yeah. I had trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma. And eventually, you can only pretend to be okay for so long.
Yeah, yeah.
Eventually, your cracks are going to start to show. But I was a writer at the time. I literally wrote my way out of that marriage. Mm-hmm. I wrote my way out of that relationship. People have seen my play, Why Me, Lord, several times. That was my story.
Yeah.
That was how I got out.
Yeah.
And that was how God delivered me out of it. But what has kept me out is therapy.
Therapy. That's really good. We had a woman on our show talking about mental health and how I think we're in a time now where, back in the day, it was secretive, because if you tell somebody you was in therapy, they gonna think you're crazy, something's wrong with you.
I don't care.
You're unbalanced. It was church. Something's wrong with you. Go to church.
Go pray about it.
Pray about it.
I did. I prayed, and God told me to go get a therapist.
Go get a therapist.
Because He said,
and maybe
we need both of y'all. You need him and you need her.
And you need both of them together.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, sometimes when you go to church, and some people just tell you to pray, and I'm a churchgoer. I'm a believer.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just not enough to say, okay, I got to find the root of this problem, because I'm only cutting off branches, but stuff is growing back.
Yeah. And that was my thing. I was like, I keep walking away from these. I call them cray-cray. I keep walking away from these cray-cray men, but I keep finding more cray-cray men. Like, what?
They're in a line waiting on me.
Yeah. And it's like, I asked myself one day, I said, what is the common denominator in this equation?
Yeah.
And it was always me.
Yeah.
So if I keep being in abusive relationships, what is it about me, number one, that either attracts or accepts?
Yeah.
And I like I said, I had to go back down to the core. I thank God for my therapist. Mm-hmm. I found my therapist 3 years ago. Oh, no, it's been 4 years. 4 years ago. Because at first I didn't want to deal. Lashana, I'm going to tell you the truth. Coach. I didn't want to be coached. I was like, I'm okay. And
I'm a strong black woman.
No.
I got my thing.
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I was walking around and I'm okay for so long that strong was a shield to hide that I'm not okay. I was suicidal. I was, I kept repeating the same patterns. I couldn't get my finances in order. I was battling depressions. I was just really going through it. But to the world, I looked okay. I was running an entire women's movement, stilettos rocking, and I was broke down.
Killing it.
Yeah,
social media sharing it,
banging,
but not realizing
crazy
that on the inside, I'm about to go.
I was losing it.
That's
I was
amazing.
allowing myself to be involved and to be attached to things that were not with my morals.
Yeah.
So I had to get to myself and be like, okay, Donalja, come on,
Yeah.
let's have a come to Jesus meeting with you and you.
You and you.
Me and me had to sit down and go, we need help.
Yeah.
You know? So, and I think a lot of women don't understand. You have to go all the way back. I could not just look at the past 5 years, the past 10 years. I had to go, where did I break? Where did I break?
Yeah.
I remember that I used to be the little girl when things were happening in my household with my mom and my dad. I would go run under tables and just sit there under tables and hide. Mm-hmm. I would go under the bed or in the closets.
Yeah.
And I was learning that as an adult, as a woman, I was doing the same thing figuratively.
Yeah. You're right.
You know, let me put on this mask of I'm okay. Let me put on this mask of I'm strong. Girl, I'm busy. Girl, I'm doing it. I got this going on with my business, and I got that going on.
That's
but
amazing.
I'm broke down, and I can't hold my head up.
And who do I reach out to?
Oh, because you strong. So you can't reach out to nobody.
Because I'm
you gotta
doing my thing.
I'm doing my thing.
I'm doing my women movement. Mm-hmm. The last thing I can do
is admit.
This is what's telling you, is keeping you from healing is to admit that, no, I need somebody to move me.
Yeah. Because at one point I was looking and I told people, I said, yeah, I don't like y'all. I just don't.
Yeah.
And it wasn't them that I didn't like. I didn't like me.
Yeah.
And my women's movement was showing me different reflections of me. Different people that were just like me, that were hidden, that were hiding different areas that they needed healing in.
Yeah.
You know, and I can only say that I've been okay. I've been increasingly becoming more okay over the past 4 years.
Yeah.
But today, I can say that my feet are planted on solid ground.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a difference. When I walk into a room, I'm not going, she looking at me. Look.
You ain't even worried. You just got...
I don't notice it because I finally got to a place where I'm looking at me.
Yeah.
Because I'm worried about you and talking junk because I ain't okay.
Yeah.
You got petty moments because you ain't all right.
Yeah. But it's that level of confidence. And out of your 4 babies, how many are girls?
2. I got 2 and 2.
So you have...
And 2 and 2 on the grandbaby.
2 and 2. You just even across the board. And how did you, or did they see? Because I know that has to be a concern. If you saw your mother go through it, you know, people I've talked to, they always share the part that my mother was abused. Mm-hmm. And it's like a cycle, like we were talking about, a curse just being passed from generation to generation. How are your girls' choices in relationship, your daughters?
They are better than mine were. One of my girls, she's extremely focused, stable, relationship minded. One of my other girls, she has it as well, but she has had to navigate and find her way. I've seen her make some of my same mistakes.
Yeah.
But I see her get out of them quicker than I did.
Yeah.
The thing that I say is this, they saw me fake it.
Yeah.
And then they've seen me make it.
Girl, you better not say that quote.
You know what I'm saying? Like at one point I was
love it.
I'm just gonna keep it together.
But they knew mama.
They knew Mama was a speaker for the North Carolina Coalition Against Domestic Violence, still getting her tail whooped.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Mama going out there and she's talking to other women, and I've got women that are calling my phone constantly.
Wow.
Hey, I'm being abused. I don't know what to do. I still have that. The difference is now I'm kind of like, yes, sis, yeah, you. Mm-hmm.
I can say it with all heart and sincerity and experience that you can get out of that, and you can stand, and you can be strong.
My goal was I did not want to be fake.
Yeah.
You know, we always say fake it until you make it. The problem is sometimes you never make it. Mm-hmm. So all you just faking
it. Fake it becomes your
persona.
Your reality.
Yeah.
Like, this is real.
Yeah.
I don't know no other way.
And that was it. I told you, Listen, I had some fraudulent moments of strength.
Yeah.
You know,
I
I'm
love
pretending
that.
to be strong. I wasn't strong.
Yeah.
I could tell you need to do this, and that. And then I go cry for 6 hours.
Be weak at home.
Yeah.
Don't know how you're going to make it.
You
and
over there.
And I can imagine how frustrating it is when you're in those moments where you're with God, just crying out, you know, those alone moments like, God, Lord, how am I able to help these other women, but I'm still stuck in this situation?
That was my biggest thing. How do I help other people when I'm broke down myself?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, people are like, when are you going to write the book? When I have a happy ending?
My Cinderella story.
My glass slippers don't fit. You know what I mean? Wait.
Like my Cinderella story is not rated PG, so I don't know if you want to hear
mine
this.
ain't even rated R. It's kind of X.
It's kind of X.
Like I had to look at myself and be like, girl, you wildin'.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people look at me and go, "Did you change?" Yeah, I needed to.
You needed to change.
Look, bruh.
Yeah. So you don't understand what you know, I guess people who, the image that we put out there, and that's all women, we never know what women are facing. You know, we only look at domestic violence if I see the bruises or if I hear him talk to you in public and I have to catch it of how he handles you in public. And to me, that's still only verbal, or maybe it's not that bad. So I can only imagine what it's like at home. But, you know, you may not always see a black eye. You may not always see.
You can see a broken spirit, though.
Exactly.
When you see a woman who has lost her sense of self, you can always tell when a woman has a good man in her life, because a good man, that woman still stands up straight. She actually excels, and she it's almost like she catapults. But when you've got that abusive man, that woman shrinks.
Yeah.
And shrinks and shrinks. And he may, while she may have a great social media presence, he in the background going, I did it.
Yeah.
The man that constantly takes credit for everything you do is probably abusing you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say
not physically always, but it's kind of like a borderline, a lot of control.
It's a lot of control.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. What's so crazy about me now is you can't fool me now.
Yeah.
I smell it, see it, taste it a mile away. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think that period of time that you had a way of discovering who Donalja is, I think that cleared your vision of, wait a minute, I see myself. It ain't even all the way, and I can say this, and you can say if I'm wrong, because I've never been a victim or a one in it, but it's your eyes are clear till I can see me. It ain't about I can spot a abuser a mile away. It's just that now that I can see myself in a totally different light, and I know what I deserve. And I don't.
And then the thing is when you've gone through a cycle of abuse for so long, sometimes you become that abuser.
Yeah.
Like I recognize within myself, I had a relationship in between where I was verbally abusive. I was emotionally, but now I ain't gonna physically hit you because I don't want you to hit me back.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
cut you with my words,
boy, and I'm a wordsmith too. Yeah. You may not get back up.
You may not get back up with my words,
girl. My words were two-edged swords, going in and coming out.
Yeah,
and
that's your only way of communication.
That was my only way, and it was like, wait a minute, whoa.
Yeah.
Donalja had to have a sit down moment with myself and realize, hey, I've become what they did to me.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it to somebody else.
Just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you cannot become, like you said before, the abuser. So tell me, what is Donalja doing now? We know about the band, and most of us who see you I was asking you about your story. Man, I sat down and heard the story, but in social media or the community, people know Donalja is singing, like getting it. I'm talking about, like you mentioned earlier, stilettos. Bringing that fun to life, just being active and making people feel good. So tell us, what are we expecting? Because I know you just did a major thing not too long ago, a transition in your life.
I've had a major transition.
Transition.
I actually stepped into ministry. Well, I accepted my call into ministry because we make it seem so deep. I stepped into ministry.
The Lord just
the Lord spoke to me. No, look, I quit running. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Slow down.
September the 20th, I did my initial sermon. So I became an ordained minister as of September the 20th. That was different.
That's a major transition.
Yeah, imagine standing there going, "You sure, Lord? You really want me?"
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah,
that
girl.
was one thing. And then I was telling you earlier that I have partnered with Illuminations by Inward Vine and have created my own healing line. This is one of the first things to launch in the line, which is my candle. It's called Full Bloom.
Ooh, and this is yours. Ooh, that smells so good.
So one of the things that I recognized is in my healing process that aromatherapy has been major for me.
Yeah.
And Inward Illuminations by Inward Vine, I would constantly get their candles, constantly. I was addicted, real bad.
Really addicted.
It's bad when they go, "What you want?"
Hey, girl.
Right. So my friend, she came with me and she was like, "Listen, it's time for you to have your own products."
Okay.
And we developed this and we
Ooh, it smells
came up
good.
with the scent ourselves. So that's one of the first things. There will be bath salts as well.
So tell us, what is this scent?
Full Bloom.
Full Bloom, okay.
It is Full
Okay,
Bloom.
all
It
right.
is a
Ooh,
combination
it smells so good.
of white tea, red rose, and I forget the other scent, but I almost
smells so
remembered
good.
it. But it's about, I bloomed as
Yeah.
a woman. And I'm just going to be honest. I bloomed as a woman when I accepted what God wanted from me.
Yeah.
And I told everybody, it's funny because I hear God say, "You're God's girl."
Yeah.
So the part of the God's girl line will be the healing therapy products, so that I can get more women to focus on that inner child, feed that inner child,
Yeah.
take care of her, self-love. And that's what the candles is all about. It's all about self-love and accepting of self and really just tapping in. So that's one of the things that I've got going on right now.
Okay. All right.
Is
good.
that line. And I'm going to actually leave that when you
I
get the
appreciate
first
it.
experience. Hey.
Make sure my oldest don't get it.
And we have this.
it
This is
smells
what
so
this is
good.
actually the bath, the actual oil, so you can put it on your skin. Everything
Okay.
is all natural.
Ooh.
And it's all about being feminine and
Yeah.
bringing that feminine energy, because I tried to get away from my feminine energy for a while.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm embracing it.
Yeah.
And I want
love
other
it.
women
I
to
love
embrace it. The other thing that I have going on, just about to launch my website. It's donalja.com, which is going to be really different because I'm
Yeah.
usually tied into the band of stiletto
Yeah.
ladies and all that. Nah, I'm gonna try to go ahead and let some things out that I've been focused on. I have a journal that I'll be putting out.
Good.
A women's healing journal that I'll be putting out by the end of this year. And then, of course, Alter Egos is still repping.
All the egos
We
going.
still repping. We still out there making
Yeah.
some noise.
Still doing your thing.
Yeah.
So you're just chasing it. You're just getting it. You're just going after what you believed in.
I am. What it is I've come into a sense of self. I used to be afraid of everything.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like, you know what? Let me try it. You know,
Yeah.
that's my whole thing. I've been doing a lot of craziness this year. I've been canoeing and kayaking and I've just been like, hey, let me just try it.
I admire that.
Look,
though.
I've been on a mountain bike, girl. I've started focusing on my health and getting into the
I
gym,
love
becoming
it.
more fit. You know, and one of the things that I recognize is as you begin to love you more,
Yeah.
you spend more time building the body, and as you build the body, you build your mind.
Yeah.
And as you build your mind, you build your spirit. And it's just allowing a full embodiment of self.
Yeah.
So it's been.
I think it's like you walking into a whole new you. It's just
I am with
walking
this purple
with
hair.
yeah. I love it. Well, it represents your survive. You know, you surviving.
It does.
It reminds you.
I've had purple hair for about different variations of purple for about 6 years now.
Yeah.
This, however,
I love it.
is the wildest that I've ever experienced. You know, when you go to your stylist and be like, you know, I'm ready. And she's like, this is what I'm feeling. And you're like,
Feel
whoa.
it. I feel it in my hand.
Look, I'm like, whoa, like, sure.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. It's just I can just the energy, and we've been around each other before, and I can tell there's a difference there's a different energy off of you. It's peace. Yeah. It's very peaceful. And it seems clear. On whatever direction that you're going, it's like, okay, I'm trusting it.
I am. And I can never, for so long I was so afraid to show my faith, because you're always afraid that you're going to be judged. Because if anybody knows me, they know that I've always been the radical. Like, I told somebody, I said, I had a full burlesque show last year, and then I stepped into ministry this year. Who does it? like, hey, what, like, for real. But the whole thing is that my burlesque show last year was because I was afraid of, it was me saying, let me embrace the woman that I am.
Yeah. Me
allowing myself to follow my calling is allowing me to embrace the spirit that I carry and to be responsible for it. Yeah. Because one of the things that I'm recognizing is healing without God is not healing.
Yeah. You're so right.
You're just in a state of
it's pushed down, it's suppressed. And if not careful, I don't care if it's 5 years, 10 years,
it's gonna erupt.
It's gonna come back.
You're gonna have a spontaneous combustion. And this is the first time that I've truly felt as though I was walking in my healing. Now, my healing is minute by minute every day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Tomorrow I might be like,
Yeah.
But my moments only last for a short time, because now I have a foundation that I can pull from.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for what God is and how He's shown Himself. Like I told somebody, I said, people ask me, well, what made you make the change? I lost my job in January, but I found my God in February. Like, I truly found Him. Because I had to rely on Him. Every bit of substance that I had came from Him. How my bills got paid, how I got food in my home, whether I drove a car or not, everything came from God. And when He said His eye is on the sparrow, I was the sparrow.
Yeah.
That He was consistently feeding. So at the same time, He took me off a job that was heavy, took the time to allow me to be reshaped, remolded, and my spirit to be awakened.
Yeah. Through
counseling and through laying before Him.
Yeah.
And now I walk freer.
Yeah.
I'm still going to get it in now.
Yeah. You're not going to not be.
I'm not going to not be me.
No, yeah. It's just a nice,
me.
It's a different one. And so, world, get ready.
Yeah, I'm scared for y'all.
Well, I have to say, it's been a pleasure talking with you today, sharing the story. I want women to reach out to you. Not only, of course, people to book you for singing, entertainment. We already know that's coming through. But I really would love for women to see you in this light. And so how can they find you?
I'm on all social media platforms. My Instagram is @thevoiceness_AEB. Also, my website will be Donalja.com. And for those of you, I'm going to be honest, my mom gave me a difficult name, and I love it. It's beautiful. However, it is spelled DONALJA. So that's how you can find me. And I'm still on Facebook. Yeah. I'm easy to find.
Send you a message.
And I'm personable. But I'm honest.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the 100.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I had to get it.
Yeah. And I think that's the only way you're going to survive. If especially hearing it from another survivor. So again, I thank you so much for just joining us today. And
thank you for having me.
Oh, a girl, I'm telling you. I was trying my best. I was listening to the story, and as a woman, you're like, Lord, I know I have my battles, and we all have our own battles, but you just never know what other people encounter. And for them to still say, yes, people, like you said, you could have taken your life. You could have drowned in alcohol, drugs, so many different ways to find that peace. But you said, you know what? Enough is enough.
I got tired.
I'm going to make it.
I got tired.
Oh, Lord. So again, thank you so much again for just joining me today. This is Coach Crawford with my special guest, Donalja James, here in the She Cave for the She Hungry podcast. Thank you guys for listening in. Take care. Holla at you.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you. This is fun.
This is the She's Hungry podcast with Coach Crawford.